Hello, everybody. Let's see. Okay, so there's going to be, my name's Chuck Wang. I'm here with Hindenburg. There's going to be a delay, a time change delay. The time's a little off. I definitely appreciate everyone for being here. So the actual meeting is going to be an hour from now, and that's my fault. We have a time change in Copenhagen, and I completely messed up the times. So what's going to happen is the live training is going to be on in an hour, but I'm going to sit with you guys for the next hour because I'm sure everyone's going to be coming in at different times now because of the time change. Okay. So I'm going to get this started a little bit. Yeah, I didn't want to have everyone just hop on and be like, hey, what happened? So I'm going to be repeating the same message essentially for the next hour or so. Yes, definitely have a walk, Christian. At CET, so that would be 9 p.m. CET. Correct. Yes, definitely come back in an hour. Otherwise, you're just going to hear me say, come back in an hour. So sorry. All right. So for everyone joining in right now, hi, my name's Chuck Wang. I'm with Hindenburg. And the live training is going to be in an hour. All right. I'm actually messed up on the time change. You guys had, I'm sorry, the Denmark had a time change, and Nick's going to be coming on in an hour. So I messed it up. So, okay. But it's great to see everyone coming through. This is awesome. Looks like we're going to have a nice turnout today. But again, the live training is in an hour instead of right now. There was a time change, and I didn't get that into the notice. All right. Okay. Wow. It looks like this is going to be a stacked live training, which is awesome to see. Will this be housed on my site, on our site? The replay, you mean? The replay, what we'll do is I will send out a replay after the fact for sure. You can find it on YouTube as well as on Facebook. How long is the live training? Live training is going to be about an hour. Initially, we were thinking about just jumping on and doing a back-to-back live training because of the time change, but that wouldn't work out quite well. Okay. So for everyone just joining right now, the live training is going to be in an hour from now. There was a time change, and I didn't get that time change sent out to you guys. Just make sure everyone can hear the audio. I'm looking at the chat box here. So if you guys are having problems hearing me, okay, sounds good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little screenshot that says the live training is going to be in an hour. That way you don't have to keep on hearing me saying it's going to be an hour from now. But I'll try to keep you entertained while you guys are jumping in. I can hear. Can you redirect us? Oh, for sure. Yeah. But so if you're actually into this live training right now, you will automatically receive an email saying where the live training is going to be, the replay is. So don't worry about that. I'll take care of it. I'll make sure that everyone who's unable to come back in an hour will receive that live training replay. Okay. That was for Kimberly. And you're welcome, Michael. Okay. So for everyone just joining, there's live training is going to be delayed by an hour. There's a time change in Europe that I didn't count for. I'm actually in the Midwest of the United States in St. Louis, and that's on me. Definitely apologize for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to push the live training back for an hour. Hopefully you can come back and join us. It looks like it's going to be a full house. We'd love to have you. have you back. That'd be great. Pauline, yes. Yes, definitely. We're going to be using the same link. Everything's going to be the same. It's just going to be an hour from now. So what I'm going to do for the next hour is fill time and try to keep everyone entertained that's going to join in, and then come back in an hour with Nick. So you guys are going to be so sick of hearing me speak for the next hour. But at the same time, what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you little funny things about me during this live training. Yeah. You definitely don't want to hear me sing. Lars and everyone, yes, there's going to be a YouTube. I will repost today's live training on the link for YouTube and Facebook as well. Okay. Why the push? There's an hour change. So sorry, Karsten. Yes, there was a time change in Europe that I didn't count for in the. Actually, technically, I did account for it. This is how bad it got. There was a time change in Europe that I didn't count for in the initial notice, but then I overcompensated by changing the wrong times in the United States, and it didn't change the times in Copenhagen. That's so embarrassing to say. Oh, that's so terrible for me to say, but it's true. That's completely on me. I botched up the whole time change thing, and so we're gonna have to push back the. I'm embarrassed. Can you say I'm embarrassed? I'm totally embarrassed by that. Yeah. So we're gonna have to push back the live training for an hour. Okay. I'm going to. I'm trying to, but I'm trying to also look at the. Doris said make an old school sign, say that the training's gonna be an hour delay. That's so funny. I'm trying to, but I'm also trying to look at all the chats coming in and make sure that I'm answering questions and not just being a butt by not answering. Awesome. Okay, so let me try to get this going here, and what you're going to see is me with my crazy face trying to look through with my eyeballs here. So to do a mini training, yes, but I think it would take away. I definitely could. Your punishment now entertains for an hour, right, Martin? I hear you. Yes, I definitely could do a mini training for everybody, but I think it would take away from what we're going to be doing in an hour. So I'm not going to go down that road. Okay. Give me 1 second, guys. For everyone that's just joining, yes, the meeting ID will be the same. This live training is going to be pushed back until for an hour, essentially. Okay. I messed up on the time change, and this is my punishment. Like I think Martin was saying, is for the next hour, I get to entertain you guys while we get situated. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for being understanding, and I hope everyone's being safe right now. Give me a second, okay? Okay, here. You know what though? Now that I'm actually looking back at the screen, it's so good to see people. I'm not sure if you guys were practicing socials. Thank you for waving. That's so awesome. Like I haven't seen people in forever, so it's like seeing everyone's so cool. Yeah, but yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, let me update this right quick. So the training is actually going to be 12 p.m. in Los Angeles. And now I'm having issues with the HTML code here. 1 second. So it's everyone just joining right now. We're going to be pushing back the live training for an hour because I messed up on the time change. 8 p.m. in London and then 9 p.m. in Copenhagen. And once I update this, I'll be able to post this, and that way you can see it here. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So try to get a split screen here. So here we go, guys. And you guys are welcome to come back in an hour. You guys don't have to sit here and stare at my mug for the next hour. So today's training is going to be at 2 p.m. Central, which is where I'm at. I'm in St. Louis. Okay. And the reason why we're pushing this back is because I messed up on the time changes in Europe. Okay. All right. But definitely appreciate you guys for being
pas marché, le son était tellement fort que ça me hurlait dans les oreilles. Impossible de régler ça.
Okay. I gotta make sure we mute everybody. So where's everyone from? Let me go back to the chat box real quick. So today's live training, just to say again, is going to be at an hour later. Okay. Okay. I'm from Sweden. I'm in St. Louis, guys. Spain, Germany. That's awesome. So in other words, I completely messed it up. No one's from the United States. Everyone's here can be an hour early. That's just it's fantastic. Okay. I'm never going to hear the end of this come tomorrow. Please, someone from the United States show up. That way I don't feel completely bad. All right. France, that's awesome. I hope everyone's staying safe. It's a crazy time. So it's unbelievable. Oh, 50% coupon. Yeah. I would love to do that. There is a discount though. I'm not sure if you guys know or not. There's a student discount that we've done. Let me pull that up here. What we've done is create a student discount for everyone affected by this COVID-19, this craziness. And it is located I'm laughing because, all right, on a separate Skype chat box here, everyone's just joining us right now. The live training is going to be postponed for an hour because I messed up on the time change. And I'm just getting a Skype direct message from the CEO saying I messed up. So this is perfect. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Yes. Well, the reason why I'm not ending it in an hour is because, I don't mind working an hour overtime. It's not. I don't care about that whatsoever. I don't want people to like hop on and be like, "Hey, look, you said it was going to be now, and it's not now. Why are you not here?" I'd rather be a complete ass for an hour and then and just take flack for it, and that's good. I can handle that. But I would definitely not want people to show up and be like, "Hey, there's no live training." Yeah, I don't want. Rafaela says, "Can I not just send out a mass message?" I could, but I don't. It's like spamming people, Like, I don't want to do that. I definitely could do that, but I think it might also infringe on GDPR, and I don't want to get in trouble with the EU with that one. And technically, I could, post on Twitter, but it looks like everyone's going to be coming from Europe and not the United States. Thank you very much. I can read you a poem. I could rap, but they'd be so inappropriate that I shouldn't do that. Oh no, I'm not. I'm just totally kidding. Could you see me rapping? That'd be the craziest thing ever. No. I'm just hoping the next 45 minutes fly by real quick so I could stop smiling and laughing at myself. Oh, that's so funny. My favorite song, I'm all over the board. I have everything like from Sam Cooke to like gangster rap. 1 second. I've got another message from the CEO coming through. This is fantastic. Okay. This is so funny. No. You might as well end the chat. No. I'm not gonna end the chat. This is gonna be me for an hour. So everyone that's just joining us right now, the live training has been delayed for an hour and the 45 minutes, essentially because I messed up on the time change. There's a time change in Europe. And so if you guys want to come back in an hour, that'd be great. Otherwise, I will entertain you as much as I can for the next 45 minutes or so. Okay? But you know what we could do? No, let's see. I was going to say we just open it up and talk, but I probably shouldn't do that either. I will. You know what? I need to stop recording this because it's going to be for an hour. 1 second.
They're like really, really good. So anyway, I don't know if the rest of you can actually see him. Because can everyone see everyone else?
Yeah, if you go to the different, there's like a different
different
views. Carson's up top. Everyone's been really kind. Thank you for everyone that's here, that's still here.
Well, that's the great thing you find about the radio people. They're very, very nice people.
Or they flame you. This could have been a complete.
There is that as well.
Yeah, right. Could you imagine? This could have been horrific. But we're getting close to the top of the hour here. Nick, do you want to just do your sound checks in the meantime?
I thought I was doing that. So does this sound okay to you?
Yeah, and you sound good to me. Can everyone hear Nick all right? Because Nick's going to be doing most of the talking from here on out. Okay. If you could pitch for people who never use software, that'd be great. Oh, sure.
The new features or what?
No. Just in general. So yeah, Hindenburg, honestly, it's the easiest way to record, edit, and publish a podcast. That's my executive summary, and I truly wholeheartedly believe that. Prior to working with Hindenburg as a marketing manager for at least another hour, that I I created 200 podcasts. I produced, edited, and published 200 podcasts within a period of 18 months using Hindenburg. And I don't think you can really, I don't think you understand the simplicity of the flow and how powerful it can be once you put it to good use. So, yeah. My podcasts
Should I just start sharing my screen with you?
Sure. 1 second. My podcast, it was the MVP marketing podcast, and then I had the Inspired Works podcast, and they were in 2014, 2015. They have since been deprecated, but I don't believe I pulled them from iTunes. They shouldn't be there. But they received some sort of notoriety as well. Nick, we're almost approaching the top of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
You're sharing your screen.
I am.
Yes, you are.
Oh, that's annoying.
Okay. But we won't start till the top of the hour. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
I'm just fooling around right now.
Sure. You took over my screen. So 1 second here. Okay.
You just let me know when you want to go.
Sure. Actually, I want to know who new has joined us who's here that's supposed to be here. Who has joined us? Let us know. Drop a little location shout out from where you're at. I know we've got New Zealand here. We've got the UK here, France. I know we've got mostly Europe. Oh, Pittsburgh. Yes.
And
Arizona
joining.
And the reason why I'm saying yes to the guys in the United States is because hopefully you guys were here on time, as opposed to all of my European friends. You guys were definitely if you guys friend me on Facebook, I'll definitely say yes. I'll make sure I take a look. We've got Germany, Washington, Netherlands, California, Cali, SoCal in the house. And hopefully everyone's staying safe. Definitely appreciate everyone for being here. We're going to get into the meat of today's live training. Rejoining if you're rejoining this call, definitely let me know too. So I'll give you a shout out. Jesus is rejoining from Spain. We got Massachusetts. Everyone that's joining right now I think you guys received the correct notification to be here at this time. We got South Carolina. See, like I said, rejoining from Craig from London. Awesome. Yeah, this is going to be a great turnout, and I definitely appreciate everyone for being here. I know it's a crazy time that's going on right now with this whole COVID thing. And during some of the pre-roll, I was saying that how wonderful it is to be able to see so many people. So if you guys want to just pop on your video for a little bit and just actually see people, that's fantastic. But yes, Kristen came back from a walk. Thank you. All right, so we're at the top of the hour. Just want to say hello and thank you for joining us today for our live training. My name is Chuck Wang. I am the marketing manager for Hindenburg for the next hour at least. And if you don't know that inside joke, you might see on the replay as to why. But today we're going to be joined by Nick Dunkerley, our creative director, and we're going to go through some of the basics of podcasting and recording and how perhaps you can use Hindenburg in your workflow. And also to let you know a couple of interesting new features perhaps at the end if we have time. Okay. Nick, do you want to go ahead and take it over?
Yeah, I actually just had one question because I can never remember this from each time we try this. Am I able to play back audio? If I play back audio?
Yes.
I am.
Okay. When you share your screen for the first time, there's an option that says, there used to be an option that says to share your computer audio.
Share computer sound.
So many wonderful faces. That's awesome, guys. That's awesome you guys are here.
So I'm just wondering if you can actually hear that. Yeah, that goes.
We can hear it, but not very well. At least I.
Yeah.
Not very well. Wait a minute. I might actually be able to just directly play that.
And if you're just joining us right now, we're just doing a quick sound check here for Nick.
Den er til dig. Det er en gave.
Yes.
Den er også en til dig.
Definitely hear that.
Yeah, this was the experience we had last time. It's really choppy, and that's what you want when you're doing an audio presentation.
Så kom det før.
I never figured out why it did that, did we?
Okay. So.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to kick it off?
Yeah, we did actually.
We're going.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being so patient with us, and welcome to this introduction to Hindenburg. And it is an introduction. We can do some. We'll do a Q&A at the end, and if you have any questions that are outside the basics, just let us know. As well, no, I'm not going to refer back to what we've already talked about. This is a DAW. It's an audio editing system where you are able to create audio productions. This is slightly different from other DAWs because the way that we tried to design it was to design it for, at the time, I'm not saying it's not for podcasters, but at the time when we started doing this, podcasting was still a wet dream we all had, and we designed it basically for radio production. And what was happening in the radio business at the time was that the sound engineers were being let off, and journalists were let to do their own engineering for themselves. And the reason why we designed it this way was we were trying to give the storyteller the tools to do what they wanted to do without actually needing a degree in audio engineering. Because back in the day, you had an engineer who actually knew that, and the journalist who was just thinking about storytelling. So yes, it might seem like a simple tool, but that is actually the point. But underneath it, it has the power to actually help you out. So it's kind of like a silent sound engineer helping you out. And I'm just going to go through some of the things when we get into it. But Chuck has given me a list of things to do, so we're going to talk about recording first and foremost. So let's get on with the basics. When you want to record something, you arm a track. So if you go listen to a tutorial or see a guide, and we're talking about arming a track, over here on the track, you press this here and the track is armed. If you have the Pro version, you can even choose which inputs you want to have on the individual tracks. So I could right now choose to use the microphone that I'm talking into right now. So that would be this one. And once that's set up, you just begin recording, yada, yada, yada. Bob's your uncle, you're recording. If you were then had a situation where there was two people in the room and you wanted to record both people, and you'll simply set up a different microphone. Let's say the built-in one here, set it up on both tracks. And here we go, we're recording both tracks. Now, in these days of podcasting, the next situation will be that you would like to loop someone in from a Skype recording or Google Hangout or something like that. I'm on a Mac right now, so I have the most tedious job of setting this up. But if you're on a PC, it's even simpler than what I'm just going to show you. On a Mac, the way to do it is you have a small plugin that comes with Hindenburg called Soundflower. And let me see. Yes, I can maybe show you, if we could just show up here, Soundflower, I hope you can see this. Soundflower shows up as a device. And you can use this for your input and your output. So if I was to do a Skype recording, I would go into Skype and say, play out using Soundflower. And then the Soundflower would just come into a track here, like this. You could arm that. And then I will be able to record the recording. Actually, I think, no, I'm not going to try to mess around with what we're doing right now, because that's probably going to loop and it's going to be terrible. But the idea being, you just choose Soundflower, anything coming from Skype or Hangouts or whatever you're looping through Soundflower will come in here and you can record it. So very easily, you can do a setup of as many microphones as you like. And right now we have 3 tracks, but obviously you can add as many tracks as you like to this. Recording. Chuck, you just let me know if I need to do anything more on that.
Will do.
Okay, good. And anyone just ask any questions, that's fine. But recording is really simple, and once you get the hang of, especially Soundflower, it's dead easy, and you can use that also for recording anything, basically anything coming from your computer. So if you're recording from an internet browser, you can do that as well. I'm not saying it's legal, but you can do it. Okay, what are the, you've got post-production sound here. I'm just going to do a little bit about importing audio. Just going to divert slightly from the program, if that's okay with you, Doc. This goes a little bit back to having the built-in sound engineer. So here we just have some audio. If I take some audio, drag it into the track, so it was an MP3, it's now converted to a WAV file that is put into your session file. And I didn't do anything. The levels are automatically set. Think of this as a sound engineer actually listening to the material that you have and then setting the level. Depending on what type of material it is, any sound engineer would know that, for instance, classical music, that needs to peak at a different level than pop music. The reason being that classical music has a dynamic range. So when you hear a loud bit of classical music here, that will be followed by something like that. So if we put that at the same level as the pop music over here, the pop music will be very overpowering because that is at the max level all the time. So whenever something has dynamic range, you need to set the levels louder. And for this, you need to have some experience with audio engineering. Fine, if you do in any other program, you just set the level yourself and you fool around with it. And obviously you can do that here as well. But we will actually just go in and set that level for you. So if you play these two side by side, and I do apologize for the really horrible sound coming through this system. I hope you can hear through the choppiness of it. But basically what it means is that you can take different audio materials and have them side by side, and they all will sound balanced. All this is due to something called loudness. I was sitting a couple of nights ago together with Jeff Town, the two of us were trying to explain to one another how loudness works. We spent 1.5 hours doing that, and we're both engineers. So I'm not really going to go into depth of how loudness works, just to say that it's based on loudness. And if you're really interested in what a loudness meter looks like, it looks like this. That would be a good place to stop. So this is a loudness meter, and we're used to looking at peak meters like the one that we have at the bottom here. And there we have just one readout, and that is in itself quite difficult to understand how that works. Having a loudness meter just makes our life even more complicated, because here we have no less than 8 different readouts at the same time. The good thing is you don't need to worry about it. So all I said up until this point, just don't worry about it, because you're not going to be using it. What you're going to be doing is just dragging in audio. You'll see that the system will set the levels itself, and you can focus on what you want to focus on, which is telling the story, which is what it's all about. So that's just a short one on how the levels work. We're not going to do editing, and I can just quickly say, if you highlight a region, you can do fades, and you can pull them on top of one another and do cross fades and set levels, and you can duct levels and so on and so forth. So, and the reason why we don't have any envelopes that you see in other programs is that we want you to be able to move things around freely. And if you suddenly have automation lines lying in the background and you can't see exactly what it is you're doing, then in some systems, especially in the olden days, you would move something around and you'll mess up your entire automation. It's not necessarily a problem if you're doing music or a movie, because you've got 6 months to figure out what you did wrong. But if you're working up towards a deadline, that is a huge problem. So therefore, some say, well, why do you necessarily want to make this not the same as everyone else? Is because of the flexibility you'll find you'll get once you start building up stories. Anyway, on the list of things we're actually going to talk about is post-production sound. It's another one of those things where a post-production sound is actually quite complicated, and it would be great if you all had a degree in sound engineering, but I'm assuming that we don't all have that. And on top of that, the way that we, again, I know I refer to radio a lot, but there's a reason for that. Because podcasting resembles a lot of the ways and methods that we use from broadcasting. The difference being is a lot of people are now working from home, especially nowadays, unfortunately. And when you're working from home, you've got some different challenges. If you're working at a radio station or in a studio, the studio in itself has an acoustics. So actually music studios and radio studios, they have the dullest sound in the entire world. And that's the point, because if you produce something there, you want it to sound, if it sounds good in the studio, it's going to sound good in your kitchen, it's going to sound good in your car, and it's going to sound good everywhere. The problem that we have when we're producing from home is you can make something that sounds epic in your headphones, but that might actually sound rubbish everywhere else. And this is and will always be a problem when it comes to producing sound from home. Now, usually the solution that radio stations come up with for this is to say, don't do anything. Don't use any equalizers or compressors or anything like that, because you're just going to mess things up. Obviously, that is not the solution. That is just some engineer at a radio station telling you, don't fiddle with anything because you're just going to make things worse. And we came up with a solution for that. But I'm just going to show you can actually apply equalizers, and you can apply compressors and other things, and you can apply third-party plugins. But if I start setting the sound here with an equalizer, do I have to explain what an equalizer is? I might actually do that. An equalizer will change it changes the balance of the sound. So if there's too much bass in it, you can reduce the bass down here. If there's too little in the midsection, you can put it there. If you want something up in the high end, you can fill it with it there. So it changed the tone of the sound. But anyway, I'm sitting here with some fairly decent headphones on, but if I started fiddling around with this now, I would know that it would sound horrible everywhere else. Not necessarily horrible, but I wouldn't know what the end result was. So what we came up with was something called the voice profiler. The clunking sound in the background is my daughter throwing stuff around. So the voice profiler, the idea is that if you're able to find some sound of yourself where you sound good, like this one.
The result is a frenetic mix of motion and stop action.
This is Clark from the BBC, and this is what the BBC wants him to sound like. And I'm quite sure that the BBC will prefer him to sound like this on every single segment that he does. Meantime, he might be sitting at home doing a production, recording in his home studio, and he might sound like this.
On the site, you're presented with one frame from the video.
And obviously, he could go in and try to fiddle around with the EQs and what have you, but he wouldn't have a reference to what he actually should sound like. So what the voice profiler can do is you can take a piece of audio like this, and from that, you can learn a profile. Now the system, like any good sound engineer, will actually know what you, well, in this case, Clark, sounds like. Obviously, you need a piece of audio of yourself, not of Clark. That's not going to help. So the next time Clark does this recording here at home, he can go in and apply his own profile. Here we have it. That's Clark's profile. And that's his job done. All he needs to do is say, okay. So I can now play it without it.
On the site, you're presented with one frame from the video.
And now we put it on.
On the site, you're presented with one frame from the video.
And this is what the BBC wanted him to sound like. So from Clark's point of view, it's really easy to do. Apply profile, click OK, job done. And from whoever's receiving it, if it's a radio station or a podcast or what have you, you know that you always have consistent sound. Since we've got so terrible sound when I'm playing back, I'm just going to kind of illustrate this one. We also have a built-in noise reduction. If you've ever played with noise reductions, it's usually a tool where you go in and you find your noise floor, and then you try to balance that out, and then you have a different tool where you can remove the hum and the buzz and what have you. And it can be a bit tedious, and you can end up with something that doesn't necessarily sound very good. We spent a long time working on this one, and well, actually, I spent about 5 minutes on it. What I said to the developers was, I want noise reduction, and I want it to have one button, and it has to sound really good. And they went, well, we can't do that. So, well, I'm the designer, I can do whatever I like. So the way this works is, you play back the sound.
They launched a website called One Frame of Fame.
And it's automatically going to go in and find the noise floor. And the further you play, it would also find hum and buzz and what have you, if there is that in the material. And the only thing that you need to do is say, how much of this do I want to apply to this piece of audio? I have no idea how they did it, but it sounds absolutely amazing. I'm really, really pleased with the result of this one. So combining that, because one of the if you're new to audio production, something that you're going to be spending a long time doing is cleaning up your sound. So and you're going to be unsure if this sounds any good. With these two tools alone, it's going to save you hours of work and quite a lot of agony. Save you, not give you. So post-production editing, removing the unwanted. That's an actual headline. Did you anything in particular you had in mind there, Chuck? I can do one.
Just because of the sound, there was a message in the chat, and I think he's right, because I'm using Zoom a lot as well with the students, and they usually don't have that playback problem. So maybe it's just because you have a different setting for the microphone and the screen sharing. If both runs on computer audio, I think it should work fine.
Could be, but the screen sharing doesn't run on the computer audio. It runs on its own. It's got this Zoom audio device. Well, I think I know what you mean.
That's what I never do. I always set up both on computer.
Okay. Now I've changed my computer setting to the same as
Website called One Frame of Fame. On the site,
unfortunately not. I'm sorry, but I have to fiddle around with that someday. I'm not sure what it does then. Sure.
Maybe the tracks is somehow quantized. Is it possible to quantize the tracks to playback?
It's got nothing to do with the playback here. It's because it's playing back through the Zoom audio device, and for some reason that is very choppy.
No, but I think in the program in Hindenburg are the tracks like quantized, so they are not fluently playing.
No, they sound good here.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think the problem is the Zoom audio device actually, because I never use it. I just let Zoom use computer audio, then it works.
Will it do that? Should we try?
I think, Nick, we'll just have to sort this out later on and just continue.
Yeah, I think so too. I'll just show you. You don't actually necessarily need to hear it anyway. When editing, if you've come from other systems, one of the first things you will think is, why the hell do the waveforms not look the way that I'm used to seeing waveforms? It's because these are called rectified waveforms. And if you compare this to other waveforms, yes, they look differently. They start from the bottom and go up. But we give you a lot more information about the actual audio. So here you can easily see a small breath, and you can see a noise floor. This will often in other systems just be nothing. You can't see actually what you're doing here. So you got a lot of information about the audio, which means editing, if you wanted to cut out this breath here, I can just do that and cut that out. So that is one way of editing. You just cut it and that's done. In some situations, you don't want to cut it, you just want to remove it. You can do that as well. You just press clear instead, and that removes it and doesn't pull it together. Just to say, it seems like the most obvious thing in the entire world that you can do that, but for some reason, you can't do that in every system, and it's just really obvious that you should be able to do that. I was just thinking, what are some of the other features? Okay, yeah. Trim, you can trim the ends of it, and obviously it's all non-destructive, so you can always go back to the original. So we could trim that and put that there. One of the features, especially in Pro, that is really, really handy is also here in the trim area. It's just holding down Alt and Command at the moment, and you can see there's this little clock. This is actually real-time time stretch. So if you just need your audio just to be a few seconds shorter or longer, you can use the time stretch. That might not seem like a thing that you would need, but actually in many situations you'll find when you start doing larger productions, let's take something like, because you're going all wild and you start doing something like this, when you then start moving things around to time the music, so I wanted it to start exactly there, what have you, and then you'll end up finding that, oh, I need to cut out a little bit of audio here for this end to meet up perfectly. Trust me, you'll get there at some point. You just need that little, just half a second, just take that out, just use the time stretch, put it into place, and it's absolutely amazing. You can do this in real time and you can undo it again, and there's no problem whatsoever. I use it all the time now. It's one of my favorite things. Simple mix. Can I do the clipboard now? You can always, no, wait a minute. I want to do a one, because we had a lot of writing back and forth earlier today in support about multitrack editing. So shall I just do one on that? Multitrack editing. Soon enough, you'll find you'll be in a situation where you have something like this. Up here, we have a track where we have all the narration. On this track, I have all the interviews. Down here, I have all the music, and I have a little bit of different bits and bobs, like explosions. I'll see if I at some point can do a mix without putting an explosion in there somewhere. They're just so much fun to use. You can use them for so many things. But the situation then being that if I wanted to cut out a word, let's say this bit here, I wanted to cut this out. What happens is if I, let me zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. If I cut this word out now, what's going to happen is, yes, the word was cut out, but also everything over here moved. Everything to the right of this edit moved. And this is a typical problem that you'll face. So there's different ways of dealing with this. The simple one is you just do it on all tracks, just highlight on all tracks. And then when you cut, it will cut on every single track, and that will work like a charm. Except for then you'll have to probably go in and tidy up afterwards, because right now I've just cut some piece of music out underneath here, and that's not necessarily what I wanted to do. But in some situations that will work fine. So how else could I do it? I just want this one out. I could also, instead of actually cutting it, I could just delete it. So I haven't moved my sync, and then I could just move everything here in. That would also be a way of doing it. There's one that not many people know. You might know some of the old ones as well. We've got one here where you can say, I want to cut this one, but I only want to cut within this region. So let's, for the sake of the argument, just put it here so you can see what I'm doing. I just want to cut this word out. If I do Shift Command Cut, well, X right now, you can see nothing moved, but I actually cut it out here. I still got the other piece where I wanted to cut out. I'll just do that again. Just put it here so you can better see it. So I actually did the cut. This one was affected, but everything else was not affected. It might sound a little bit geeky right now, but that is actually very, very handy. And another one of my absolute favorites is when we're doing this multi-track editing is you'll be in a situation where you want to rearrange things. Now, we're storytellers.
Nick, sorry,
yes.
can you repeat that real quick while we're on this? But
oh, was that a good one?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm highlighting something from this region that I want to cut out. Holding Shift Command X. So I only cut that out. What followed only in that region was pulled in, but everything else was left unharmed. Might sound a little bit geeky right now, but maybe someday you'll go, I can see the use for that. Okay. Another thing is that a question we get a lot is, can I insert space? I'm just going to make this a little bit simpler. I'm just going to remove this for a second. So I want to rearrange it. So I want these bits here to come in earlier. I want them to come in over here. So what I would need to do is I would need to insert space here so I could move that over there. One way of doing that is that we could just make a selection like this. This is the space that we want to insert. And then with Command right arrow, I can just insert space. And then obviously I could just take these regions here, put them over there. And then I could try to cut these together again. So you get the idea. Sorry, that is one way of doing it. That's not my favorite way of doing it. My absolute favorite way of doing it is, let me just get rid of this as well. Let's make it look a little bit more like some real radio piece just for a sec. It's going to be way too easy. There's so much space all over the place. Okay, so this looks a little bit like a radio piece, podcast, whatever. So I want to rearrange things. 30 minutes left. Brilliant. So what I can do here is we've got a command called select all to end. So what it means is if I hold Alt Command, and if you're on a PC, that's Control, and then press the first region, it's going to highlight that region and everything on all tracks following. So if I also had something down here on this track down here, so I do the same thing. First region, it's going to highlight everything after that. Then I just simply move whatever it is that I wanted to move out of the way, rearrange it, use the same command to move it back again, use that command to move that back again there. And like within 10 seconds, I've completely rearranged my segment. That is, for me, the absolute fastest way of rearranging stories. And what you want to keep in mind is when you're storytelling, it's all about, does the story flow? Are we getting the information that we need at the right time? And if you're thinking, oh, I'm not too sure if that's going to mess up my mix if I try something new. Hello, daughter. It's so easy to do. You just... Oh, someone else in the background. So try it out. Again, it's Alt Command on a Mac, and just click on that first region wherever you are. It's absolutely brilliant. So 30 minutes. Does that mean I have to start talking about something else, Chair?
No, it's just more that you just have 30 minutes. We have 30 minutes left in the session, just to be mindful of everyone's time.
All right. Grabbing sound bites. Over here to the right, we have something called a clipboard. And at the moment, you can see there are clips in it. And if I take a clip from here, I can drag it into the workplace. I'm just going to show you how you can use that. I'm going to import an interview. So this is just some interview.
Okay, great. So I'll probably hold the mic about right here.
So this is what, you'll have 2 hours of recording, and when you get home, you have to listen through that interview and find the good sound bites. Typically, what would happen is that you'll find the sound bites that you want, and then you'll put them on a scratch track. And then you'll, after about 5 minutes, have absolutely no idea what was in the different clips. So therefore, we have a clipboard. And the way that the clipboard works is, instead of dragging it to a scratch track, I can now take this and put it into a group. It can be any of these groups. Right now, this one is just the interview group, but this could be my interview with Simon, as it is. And this could be the clip where he says, my name is. So now I'm starting to organize my material in a way so I can actually find it afterwards. Again, we're busy people. We don't want to spend half an hour trying to find the right clip. Just put it in there and give it a new name. For those of you who have been using this for some time, yes, we do realize we need to expand it, because in the beginning we thought this was just going to be used for a few clips. Now we have users that say, well, it would be nice if we could rearrange our clipboards a bit because we have 700 different clips over here. We're working on it. It was never meant to be that for huge features and documentaries, but as it turns out, people are actually doing that. So, and again, keep in mind, everything is non-destructive. So once I have all the clips I wanted from that interview, I can just delete it, because otherwise it's just going to be lying around in the clip, in the workspace and taking up space. Because I can now, from this single clip, I can always go back to the original if I want to. I'm just going to quickly show you how you can use that, the clipboard as well. So in this situation here, I've got huge amounts of different clips, but nothing in the workspace. I've emptied everything from the workspace because I want to start from a clean sheet. So I could say, in this case, I want the story to start with some church bells, because why not? So I'll fade up with the church bells. There we go. And right here, I want him to say, my name is. There we go. The levels are then set as these dragged in there. Now what I'm going to do here is, obviously, I still need to do some level automation. I could just duck the sound down, or I could try to break this and have the sound go down there. But there's way easier ways of doing that. In this situation, actually what I want to do is a sound bed. And the sound bed is where the sound comes up and then it goes down and then it stays down. It's called a sound bed. And the way to do that is I just make a short selection here. This is going to be the width of my envelope or my fade. And if I drag outside it, I'm just going to zoom in a bit so you can see. This is what's going to be my fade. If I drag outside on the gain line here, it's just going to create a nice little fade and the audio is going to stay down. That's a sound bed, because in this situation, I don't want it to come up again, because what I want to, it's going to happen the next time is the narration is going to come in there, and then we're going to have the interview coming in here. And as you can see, the levels are being set as I'm going. So setting up everything here is pretty fast. There's obviously shortcuts for everything. Just if you want to make a fade, just press F. There you go. So already now it's starting to look good. Now I want to add some music to it, because he's talking about some music here, and I want the music to, let's see. Okay, so thereabouts, I want him to start singing. Now, just for the sake of the argument, I'm just going to make that a little bit shorter. So, if I was thinking about the mix here, I would like
Even
this to
sitar
end here, where he says the last bit, then the music to begin. Then I would like the music to go duck down underneath him and then come up again as the drums start here. And the way to do that is just drag a selection like so. This is going to be the length of my duck, and then just simply drag down, and then I've created that duck. Again, some people will say, well, if I've got an envelope line, I can set the dots wherever I want them and I can be all precise about it. It's true. But with these three tools, with the duck and the sound bed and the fade, you can go from making something that is really quick and sounds really, really good to anything that's like this one I was asked to do a night before, doing a presentation about audio drama. do something where you have really a lot of effect sounds and what have you. And the only tools that are used here were the same tools that I just showed you. There's only fades, and there's a sound bed, and there's probably a duck here and there somewhere. So you can use them in all kinds of ways. If I wanted the sound to come up somewhere, I could just do a reverse duck, just do it the other way. There's something odd about the expression a reverse duck. I'm not quite sure. There's something wrong with that word. But anyways, just to say that you can learn the basics of Hindenburg within half an hour. Seriously, it doesn't take that long. But just keep using them and trying to be creative about it, and you can end up with something that just sounds amazing. And at the end of the day, that is what we're trying to do, because again, audio, especially now, is a competitive business, and so you need something that pops and sounds good and is interesting, and especially the story has to be interesting. That might be me being slightly biased, but I think the story needs to be interesting. Grabbing Soundbites, publishing. Oh yes, so now I have a sound piece here. When you're exporting, you can export in different file formats. Now keep in mind, as I was saying at the beginning, this is a loudness-based system, and it goes all the way through, also to the end. So I could say that I wanted to export this MP3, but I wanted to export it at -16 LUFS because it's a podcast. So I can actually, in my export, say I want it loudness normalized to -16. And then when I export this, the overall level we set to -16, and then I can just use that as my podcast. If you were doing something for broadcasting, you could set it to, for instance, -23. This is for the EBU, or -24 for the States. The other ones here, if you're interested in why we have more ones than that, the -18 is for BBC. For some reason, their online is -18, not -16. And -14 is for these smart speakers like the Alexa. Anywho, if you're just doing one podcast, that's manageable, but you'll still need to have somewhere to, somehow to upload this to your publisher or to your podcast host. Sorry. For that, we've actually made a publish tool. We don't host anything. All we're doing is saying, if you, for instance, have a Libsyn account, there you go. Then you can just say, well, I want to set up my Libsyn account. Okay, let's do that. And here I could just enter my username and password for my Libsyn account. Again, I can loudness normalize this as -16. I only need to set this up once. And when I'm done with the story, I can just say, click that one off, say publish, and it will go to that destination. But as you can see, I have more than one destination. I might have a radio station that I want to publish to as well. And in this case, I want it to go out at -23 LUFS and not -16. I want it to be a WAV file, and that's an MP3 file, and so on and so forth. But you can set all your preferences up for your different export destinations only once. So once that's done, you've done your radio piece and you've got multiple exports, just set them up here and say publish, and it will create all the different files that you need and upload them to all the end destinations. For anyone who's actually tried to spend a Friday afternoon doing this manually, will know that this is a time saver. I've tried that. Chuck, that is what we had on the list. Ooh, can I show some of the new stuff?
Yes, that'd be great to show some new stuff.
Okay, this is not out yet, so this is a teaser. We are basically in beta on some new things. And we constantly try to listen to what our users are asking from us. Right. Let's just see. I'll start with one simple one here. So the one was, as I was saying before, when we set levels, we're using loudness. And the way loudness works is it will measure over the entire region. So when I go up to tools here and say auto level, it will set the level for the entire region. But what can happen is that you have an interview where some levels are lower than others, like your own questions might be slightly off mic, something like that. So you'll have to go in then manually and correct the levels through the interview. And that obviously is tedious, and you know, we can't have that, can we? But it took us a little bit of time to figure this one out. So what you can do is you can now find a different tool up here next to the auto level, which is the magic level, which is better for some things. So use that one, and this happens. Hope someone went ooh out there. So now it's like this is working a bit like loudness compression. So it's it can be very, very handy in many situations. So that was one of the things that it could do. But this tool is like a Swiss Army knife. It could do more than that. All right. So now we have a situation a bit like as we started out. We've recorded 2 tracks. We've now got 2 different recordings. We can see there's someone talking here, then they're talking a bit more here, but they're talking a bit on top of one another and what have you. And now we would like to mix these 2. So I could just select these 2, again, just use the same tool, magic levels, and now it's going to make a balanced mix between the 2 participants here. It looks a little bit confusing, but for that we created a different tool. We've only created 2 tools, but they can do quite a lot. So I can now just right click on it and merge these together. So now they become like new regions. And you have it from some other systems, like they will be called consolidate or glue or something like that. But typically what you'll find with these tools are that they are destructive. They will create new files and put them in place. But here you can actually go in and say unmerge, and then you can get back to the original. In this case, it's only for cosmetics, to be honest. But what you could do, the situation could be that this could be cut up into from all kinds of different edits that you've done at some point and rearranged and what have you. And you can still take all this, just merge that together to one file, so it's a lot easier to work with. And with that you can add fades, and you can add your sound beds, and you can add your ducks and what have you to it afterwards. Very flexible. Let's do a few more, because this magic tool thing, it doesn't end there. Oh, sorry about that, wrong session. Oh, did it again. Roundtable. There you go. The reason why I'm not doing it here is because I put all these together, and the only reason I did that was because I was trying to do a video of it and how it works. And if I just did it in real time, it went so fast that it didn't look like it looked like I was cheating. I'll just show you what I mean. Just gonna make this up. Decoding. This is taken from a very long Zoom recording. Okay, I'm just gonna, before I do anything else, I'm just gonna make sure that all the levels are actually set using auto level. It's a good base point to start with. If you find that the things are messing up slightly, it's probably because that the auto level hasn't been set before. Now, in this situation, I have something where I want the to do some auto ducking. So I want the music to automatically duck down underneath these different bits. And if I was to do it by hand, I would just go and do like so, and do like so, and so on. Could be done. But if for some reason you want a long piece of music to stay underneath here, the way to do it would just be to select everything, so magic levels, cross my fingers, There you go. Job done. I'm not a fan of auto ducking, but you can do it. Last one is the situation there is it's a quite common situation where you have 4 microphones open at the same time. Now, in the olden days, when you were sitting in a studio, you would have someone actually sitting at the sound desk and making sure that not all microphones were open at the same time. But nowadays, we can't necessarily do that. So we'll have a sound device with 4 inputs. So we'll have something like this. And the problem with this is that if you're sitting around a table, maybe in a kitchen or something like that, then the sound from this microphone here, which is picked up by this microphone, will actually travel to this microphone and to this microphone and to this microphone. So it's actually been recorded 4 times. And you could end up with a sound that's slightly echoey and is not quite clear. And tidying that up manually, that's just going to take forever. And then you could say, well, then we can use, how about a sidechain gate? Well, yes, you can. I'm quite sure that it would be possible to do this, solve this problem with the sidechain gate. But our thinking was not everyone actually knows how to do that. So we actually had that built into Magic Levels as well. It just selects everything, go up to Tools, Magic Levels, and there you go. Sidechain gate with a button. Okay, back to you, Chuck.
Hi, I'm just actually it's good timing. People have been asking about, is there an upgrade price? There's no, honestly, there's nothing official. But if you send me I was getting ready to type this. If you send me a direct message on here with your email address, I'll make sure that you guys are taken care of with an upgrade price from journalist to pro. Okay, so just email.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah, just okay.
You can
so
go to the website. You can find that.
No, you can't. There's no upgrade price at all. Not at all. Okay, so yeah, just email me or direct message me. And yeah, I will make sure that you get an upgrade for it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Questions. There's quite a few questions. Right, but that's not a public upgrade price. You have to have a promo code for that, Nick.
No, you don't. You just put in your key.
We're doing an upgrade price now?
The way it works is, if you've already got journalist, you've got an email and the key for your journalist, you just come in here, put that in, validate key, and then you get it for the upgrade price. Sorry about it, it's in Danish, but that's how it works.
Oh, they were looking for, right, okay. That's okay, that's fine. That works too.
Okay.
Okay. Questions. We have a bunch of questions that I can get into now. Okay. So let me start from the way in the beginning. Kim asked, well, I'll just share this with you right quick.
Where can I see that?
1 second. Okay, so Kim asked that she's noticed, since, let me increase this font here.
That's more like a question for support though, isn't it?
Okay. That's fine. Then we'll move along. Tillman asks, have you experienced?
But yes, by the way, if you have a roadcaster, I can't show it right now, but if you do have a roadcaster, it should just show up here and you should see all the strips from the roadcaster. But if it's not working, then just let us know on support and we'll figure out what the problem is.
Okay, so then Tillman asks, have you experienced any issues with SoundFlower under Mac OS Catalina?
Nope.
Do you recommend any alternatives like Black Hole or Loopback?
I haven't, to be honest, I haven't tried them. I've always used Soundflower, and since it's built in, and it works fine.
I'm just gonna make this a little larger so everyone can see.
I used it like yesterday for an interview. Obviously, I didn't use the sound using from SoundFlower. I had the person I was interviewing record themselves and just send it to me using Dropbox. And I synced it up afterwards. But
Awesome.
having a reference using Skype, it was fine.
Okay. Tillman asked, do we have an automatic ducking option? And you kind of went over
Yes.
that in the beta. Yeah, that was early on. Oh, I skipped over. Sorry.
By
Elliot.
the way, what I just showed you, the beta things, Chuck, are you able to give them the link to that? Because it's not officially out, but it is officially in the latest build.
Are you authorizing me to do so?
Yes, that's
okay.
fine. Yes.
All right.
So this tiny little group of
100.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And that's not going to go out into the wild. Are you sure you're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
But it's beta.
All right.
I'm not going to take any responsibility for it, obviously.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll hear it. Okay. All right. So per Nick, everybody, I will make sure that you guys get that instructions for that. Okay. Let's see. Question from Elliot. Can you go over Soundflower again?
Well, you can't really show Soundflower. The way that it is, when you get download Hindenburg in the installer, during the installation, it will ask you to allow Hindenburg to install, go to privacy, and it's a Mac thing. Everyone who's on a Windows, don't worry about this. It's only us Mac users that are dealing with this rubbish. And then you have to go into your privacy and security settings, and then you have to, this is typical screen sharing. Then you have to, here it will show up and say, will you allow this app to install? And you say, yes, please do that, because Hindenburg will show up and you just trust us 100% of your lives. And then we will install Soundflower for you. Once that is done, you can see Soundflower. It will show up in your list of audio options, both input and output options. And even better, it will show up here as an input in Hindenburg. I hope that was clear enough, because routing the sound internally in a computer can be a little bit confusing. On Windows, it's even easier. We don't have anything like Soundflower. What you will find in this list is one called record from a communication device and one called record from computer or something like that, computer audio. And you just choose communication device, and that will record whatever's window has set up to be a communication device. For instance, Skype or.
Question: can Hindenburg record from an Avid inbox?
Yes. Anything that has the proper drivers, so your OS can read it, and it's just plug and play. You just plug it in, and it will Hindenburg will automatically recognize that a new device has shown up, and it will ask you, do you want to use it? And you say yes, and then it will show up.
Okay, just real quick, we're going to get to the top of the hour at 3 o'clock here in 2 minutes. What I'll do is I'll cut off the questions at 3 o'clock. That way I make sure that all of our questions, existing questions, get answered. So if you do have questions, go ahead and queue those up in the chat box, okay? Colin asks, what's the difference between Voice Profile and Voice Profile Pro? Does it cost
very
extra?
simple. What's the difference between the price? In the Voice Profiler, oh, sorry, wrong one here. In the non-pro, you just have this generic one. And that means that we will apply an EQ for you based on hundreds of different radio voices. And it doesn't matter if it's male or female, because for many reasons, we didn't want to go into that debate. So we just made one profile that fits everything. And in the pro version, you get this Learn Profile button, so you can create your own. That's the difference. That's what you're paying for, this little thing here.
Cool. MFC7 has Pro, but only have EQ and compressor options, not noise reduction. Why? That's weird.
That is weird. I think you might have not put the right key in, but send us a mail and support and we'll figure out why you're not seeing that.
And that's support@hindenburg.com, guys.
Yes.
Okay, let me just drop
Always welcome to write. We do our absolute best to get back to you as quickly as we can. We do need sleep sometime.
Okay. Is there a way of fixing or taking out plosives or S's?
No, not at the moment. I'm sorry about that one. I did see, oh God, I forgot the name of the company now. Write to us on support again, and I'll try to remember what the name of it was. Acoustics, something. They did a plugin apparently that could do that. Oh, wait a minute, I might actually have it here. They are called this one. Acousonus, and they have something called Plosive Remover. And I think that I haven't seen anyone else who's got that one. I'm probably sure I'm wrong. There's probably thousands of them, but it's the only one I had lying around. Should I show you that again? Sorry, might have been a bit quick.
What's that, Nick? I'm sorry, I missed that.
No, this is just the one that she was asking about. That one there. I'll just leave that there for you to take a screenshot or something.
Okay. So I took over the screen, so no one can see your screen if you're sharing anything right now.
I am sharing something right now. Oh.
See? I look out for you, Nick.
You really do. Okay, it's called, I can't pronounce that. Accousonus. Acousonus. Acousonus. Whatever. Write to us on support. Well, I'll send you a link to them.
Okay, let's see. So when you apply a voice profile, Nick, it runs the filter across the whole track, meaning that you have to make sure.
Yes.
Okay.
It's always a good idea just to have one person per track anyway, but that's a different thing. Now,
this is interesting. Diana asks, also that Dalek-like warp sound you get when you have an internet blip, is that a statement or question?
I think she's trying to remove it.
Okay.
We can't do that either.
Yeah. That's very descriptive. I like that description. Okay. Carol, let's see.
Oh, God, I could go into a long talk about getting the right microphones and that kind of thing. Oh, shoot. Sorry about that.
Okay. This is an Adobe question from Carol. One thing I missed about Hindenburg, in Hindenburg versus Adobe Audition is the wave. Is it possible to switch to the view of the file just to show the wave, not the levels?
I was sorry, I was not watching your screen.
It's okay. So can we show the wave file instead of the levels? I think
what? The waves are I'm not quite sure I understand the question. We are showing the waves. We're just showing way more than Adobe is.
Yeah, I think that's the confusion. We actually show quite a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you measure it in pixels, it's a lot more pixels. You can at some point try to do a side-by-side comparison of using the same area and seeing how much information you get from the two.
Okay, is there a way to mass edit out breaths or ums?
Not at the moment, but it's something that we definitely are thinking about.
Okay. Does Hindenburg play nicely with Fargo?
Not sure what Fargo is.
Okay, send that question to support.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
Again, if there are questions that we go over, like gloss over, or if you would like a better detailed explanation, definitely send us a question at support. We will
it's
make
way
sure.
easier for us because some of these are also very specific and might not be that interesting for everyone else, but I'll be happy to follow up on them on support.
Colin asks, is there a way to help with muting, cutting when someone in a track is not talking to prevent background noise from the person not speaking?
Well, actually, again, if you now try the new features, because this is typically a problem that you will have if you're trying to do the whole gating thing. So try the new magic thing and see if that works. But otherwise, you can also actually just highlight that area and then just press Command M, and then it will mute that specific area.
Adeline asks, can you grab several sound bites at once, like for entire sessions, so they're all lined up? I believe referencing Clipboard?
No, well, if it was for the clipboard, yes, you can drag them to the clipboard, but I'm thinking that you want to synchronize them so they all start at one point. You can't do them with several, but what you can do, can I show my screen for a second? And let's see if you wanted to miss something out like this. It's actually a good point that we should be able to take all of these and then just have them sync to this area here. But you can't. So you have to do them all one at a time, like so. So what I'm doing is I'm holding Shift Command and then just using left arrow, and now they're all synced up. So yeah, I'll spend a few more seconds doing it, but it can be done.
Okay.
I'll stop sharing mine. You can share yours if you want.
Yes.
I hope that was the answer, by the way.
Okay. Next question is, I'd love to detect and remove silence. It's, okay. Yes.
Non-destructive only applies before you have... no. It's always non-destructive. If you accidentally delete a whole track and save it, yes, you just go into the your files folder and pull it out again. That said, if you're worried, I'll just show you another trick that I actually often do. I'm just going to share my screen again. If I had an interview, let's say this was an interview, I'd just done that, I would actually create a group and call that, I don't know, something. So, original. And then
are you sharing your screen, Nick?
I am. I thought I was. I am now, right? Okay. What I would do, if this was an interview here, I would create a group in the clipboard and call that original and just drag a copy down there. So now I will always have somewhere where I can actually find my original material. This has nothing to do with the original material. That is physically in a folder on your computer, but it's just an easy way to access it. Because as you're absolutely right, if I now deleted this, oh God, now I have to go into a folder and try to find it, but then I always have my material lying around here. It's never going to go away. All in this, I deleted down there, and never mind. You get the idea. I think it's just a good way to just always have somewhere where you can find your originals. It's just a tip.
Nick, while you're sharing your screen, can you review noise reduction and compressor, please?
Do we have time for that?
We do quickly.
Okay. The compressor, again, it's really simple. There's one button. You add more compression, and it sounds great. It really does. And the noise reduction, the way that works is you apply it.
Under what circumstance will we use compressor?
Well, despite the whole paradigm of us going into using dynamics and and loudness and what have you, it's still a good idea to use a little bit of compression. If I had a narration track, for instance, I would apply a little bit of compression to that just to make it, pull a little bit better together. So usually I'll just add a little bit of compression like this, like in the range here. It doesn't do a lot, it just makes it sound a little bit tighter. I'm not talking about making it sound like a hardcore pop music kind of compression, just bringing things a little together. And the noise reduction, that was this one, as you just open it, and when you play it back,
kind of trunk,
it will analyze itself as long as you're playing back. As soon as you close it, it will keep that setting, but it's still, if you open it again, it will still be there. So you don't have to have it running open or anything like that. It's just as long as it's open.
Kate her answers and tighten them up a little bit,
again,
so my audience doesn't fall asleep.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Next question, real quick, Nick, is can Hindenburg replace services like Auphonic?
Well, now it can. No, sorry.
Not supposed to laugh like that, man.
No, not supposed to laugh like that, am I? No, what Auphonic was able to do is you could send a file to Auphonic like this one, and then they will basically loudness normalize it, and they will put a few things on it. And it is basically what we're doing with the magic tool here. That is what they've been doing. The difference here obviously being that if you get it from Auphonic, then it will be a bounced file. So about that, no, girlfriend's coming home as well. And here, this is again it's all non-destructive, so you can go in and change all the settings afterwards if you like.
Okay. Someone was asking for an explanation of Lust, but then there was a link that was posted, so I'm going to skip that one.
Yeah, that can go into a very long talk.
In terms of a podcast publisher that isn't listed, is there any way for example, for Anchor? So I think the person, Ricker's requesting to have Anchor added as a podcast publisher.
Oh, Anchor as a publish target.
Yes.
That might actually, we are not the ones who go out and seek out companies. They come to us. All of these companies, they've approached us and then asked us if they could be a part of it, and given us their APIs or what have you. Anchor is more than welcome to do the same thing, but we're not going to pursue them. We've already got some new targets up and coming, and the latest one I think was last podcast. Yeah, but yes, I would love to hear from Anchor. By the way, so if you are an Anchor user, you can just throw them a mail.
Is there a command for merge?
Well, we actually just did that one. Yeah.
Yes,
so
no, we did. Sorry,
we did.
I'm copying and pasting.
Should I do it again?
Sure, real quick while looking for other questions.
Okay. So the typical scenario is that we have something like this. We've got loads of clips and we want to move things around, and this is really annoying. They're not sticking together, and I have to highlight everything and move it around. So you can just go in, merge, and there you go, all stuck together.
Well, you guys buried me with chat questions at the end. Let's see. Which is great. Thank you. I definitely appreciate the questions. I just want to make sure we have these all answered here.
Shall I go back to your screen now?
Oh, yes, sure. Yeah, I could reshare my screen here. And thanks for everyone for sticking by still. This is great to still have 60 people during the Q&A. So everyone's been asking me for discounts. That's cool.
I'll leave that with you, Jack.
Yeah, thanks. I just, things I have a job still. I just need to know if Hindi does anything on the channels before I go back to Rode.
What was the question again? Sorry.
I think this was in response to the initial question of Kim, I might have to ask you just to go ahead and send a question directly to support.
Yeah.
Okay, just for time purposes here. I think this might have been a late question. How do you set up Skype recordings on a Windows PC?
I think, by the way, I think the thing with the Rode is that your output from the Rodecaster might not be loud enough, because that's a different question. I'll answer you on support.
Okay. Skype recordings on a Windows PC. I think we've gone that a couple times.
Yeah.
So let's skip that for now. Is that okay?
Communication device.
Yeah. I'm just trying to effective plugins that you recommend. I think that was to everybody. Sorry, that's not necessarily to us. Sorry for seeing everyone's email address. I'm trying to scroll past these as fast as I can. What's Chuck's last name? Chuck's last name is Wang, and I think what Susan was referring to is this, so they can come find me on social media and harangue me. I love that. That's great. I'm just making sure I don't miss anyone's questions. Master track. Okay.
Master track.
What is the master track option? What does that mean? Why would we use master track, Nick? Go ahead and
because
take over if you want.
Yes, I'm taking over now. The master track. I have one here, but if you don't see it, you can just click in the gray area here, right click there, and add master track. You can use that for different things. If you have, for instance, a larger mix, let's take this one. Like, I'm quite sure I actually do have a master track on this one. What happens when you have a lot of tracks is that sometimes it's a good idea to add a little bit of compression to everything at the end. So once it's a master track, I could add a compressor to that, and just add a little bit of compression just to tighten everything just slightly together. Sometimes it might be beneficial to actually be able to do set a loudness meter on the master track, so you know what your overall levels are without bouncing it first. That can also be a way of using the master track. The master track is all your channels will be channels. I can't pronounce that now. It's too late in the evening. Through the master track. So if you want to do something to all your tracks at once, then you can use the master track.
Nick, real quick. So we're winding down here, but MFC7 asks, when I import long recordings, not all of it makes it into Hindenburg. When MFC7 imports it to Audacity, the same problem is not experienced.
Can you do that again, or should I see that in writing?
Yeah, let me let you see that. This was, let me see. Oops.
All of the audio now is, again, that sounds like one of the more specific ones. That will be a great question for support.
Okay, let me share again. Okay. Can you see it? Yeah, you go. No, you can't. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that should be the case, but it can, again, it's very specific and it's a good one for support. It can be a question of, yeah, it's a long story, but usually what you can do is actually the file will be imported. It's just not showing it. So if you take the trim handle at the end and just drag it out, the actual file will be there. But it's something to do with the information in the header of the file that's not correct compared to what the actual file is.
Nick, from your experience, which video chat or voice over IP service has the best quality, what's most stable? Skype, Hangouts?
If we're talking about what you should do for a podcast, if you should interview your guest using one of these things, none of them.
That's not the question.
Well, it depends how, you know, because I would recommend you use any of them for having a reference. But if you're talking to someone who has a little bit of computer experience, have them record their file locally and then have them send it to you afterwards, because the sound quality is just going to be 100% better. Listening to an entire podcast or an entire interview with someone on Skype is just horrible.
Okay. There are more questions. I'm sorry. There are more questions that made it past my cutoff, but I have to be mindful of everyone's time.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. I just saw one down there. Squadcast FM is great for actually doing that. You're absolutely right, Doug. And that's a service, and what that does is it will have you have an IP connection, but at the same time it will record it in full quality, and then you'll get the final the file afterwards. But I couldn't remember the name of that one, so thanks for that. Squadcast, was that right? I'll leave you two to talk to amongst one another.
Okay. So just before we wrap up today, I want to thank everyone for being here. We stacked the house. It was 100 people, and many more people were trying to get in. Appreciate
Good
everyone
memories,
for staying with me for essentially 2 hours. I mean, I've had a lot of you guys have been on here for 2 hours with me. So thank you.
Very, very patient bunch. You really are.
Yeah, and it's been fun. It's actually been fun, and I appreciate everyone's lightheartedness and being safe during this time. Just want to wrap this up real quick. What we're doing at Hindenburg, try to help. Is making students and educators' lives a little easier with educational discounts. If you want to, I knew there's going to be a question about the upgrade price. All right. So I'm going to send out everyone a promo code with a special upgrade price. So don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Or you can email me directly at chuck@hindenburg.com. I will definitely make this recording available to everybody as well. If you have questions specific that weren't answered, and I know that there were 13 questions that weren't answered, hit us up at support directly. I've dropped it in the chat box as well. Always important is our shortcuts. Shortcuts are here that you can find. That makes life easier. And of course, our tutorials that you can search. Okay.
Are people now talking about the upgrade or the upcoming version?
Both.
I can see.
Both. You just stacked me, Nick. So we got both. Yeah, see, Doug says both. Yeah. All right. So what I'm going to do, and I have it on record, is I will make sure that everyone gets a promo code for an upgrade price, even though it wasn't supposed to be on this thing, on this live training.
That's the least you can do, mate.
Right. And I will, yes, Johan, yes, Mr. Paulson. I will make sure that I change my social media handles to this, or up my avatar to this, for at least a week. I'll leave it up for a week. I'm not going to explain it, because it's just going to take too long to explain it, but I will leave it up as an homage to this live training. I definitely appreciate everyone's awesomeness with that. It was a lot of fun. What's my email address? It's chuck@hindenburg.com. Okay, let's see what else. And I think that's it for now. All right, I'll definitely make sure
someone was asking about the beta and how.
Oh yes.
Actually, if you download the latest version, it's in there, but it's hidden.
I will send out instructions for that in the follow-up for everyone as well.
You've got a link for that, Chuck, right?
What's that? Wait, what you saying?
You've got a link for the page for the instructions, the Facebook.
Oh yeah, I can. I'll just send out an email for everyone.
Send that one out. Yeah.
Okay. Nope, no affiliate program. We're gonna wrap up today here.
We are talking about it. Actually, can I just say that?
Sure.
We are working on, because of the strange times that we're living in, we found
you can't say anything yet, can you? Well, you're the boss. What am I saying? Sorry.
I can say whatever I like.
Yeah.
We are working on looking at towards making it easier for. We do realize that some of our software is quite expensive, but we're looking at ways to making it easier. And one is with subscription models. We're working hard on it, and the other one is affiliate programs. We are working hard on that one as well. So they are in the pipeline. It's not going to be forever. But it is going to probably take like within maybe a few weeks, month.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
that's nice. Software changed my life.
Yeah. Real quick, Ricker. Yes, I'm gonna send you guys a completely separate promo code that's going to be different than what we discussed on here. Okay, so you guys will see at least a minor discount. Okay. Okay, Nick, I'm gonna cut us off before you introduce anything else that's going to come on my shoulders.
I can see that there's a few more ideas to upcoming webinars we can do, and I would love to do something different than just this basic stuff. So yeah, please just let us know, because we can easily set these things.
Yeah,
up.
just if you guys have questions or specific topics, hit us up on Twitter, or just send support questions, and we'll make sure to get those all set. And what would be great is if everyone still here could turn on their video for like 1 second, if you want to. I would love to see and wave.
Take a screenshot.
I just want to wave to everyone, because we can't hang out, and it's awesome that you guys are here, and you guys are fantastic for still being here. So if you can, that'd be awesome.
A
couple more.
Here much longer, aren't they?
Come on, Tom.
People,
Melvin. I know, pressure. Shame. No, this is awesome. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Appreciate your time, and you guys were wonderful. And thank you. All right, take care. Be safe.
Right, see you soon. Be safe. Exactly. Yeah,
Okay,
stay home.
Bye, guys.